Hi, good evening, and welcome back to our little space of a drop of. Today we have a very important product that's called IQ Mega. I'm very excited to share it with you, and let's begin. So, as always, we do a little statement at the beginning or disclaimer that these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. That's part of all supplements. So that being said, I always like to remind you as well that we do extensive research and find well-documented papers in the PubMed or the National Institute of Health to back up and to explain why these supplements are so important. Okay, let's get into it completely. So what is a drop off? Well, basically it's a spotlight and an opportunity to learn more about the composition and how to use certain products in doTERRA. As we better understand how each one can optimize our health, we can make a better use of it. So we do it on essential oils, but we also like to do it on different products, as doTERRA is a bit more, much more than only essential oils. It's basically a way to bring natural solutions into your life. I hope, as always, that you enjoy it. When we talk about essential oils or products that are important for us, we like to give a brief introduction, and much more in this case of the IQ Omega. Why? Because there's several factors we should know why we want to use them and why these are so beneficial for us. If you know essential fatty acids or nutrients that are necessary for the cell growth, the development of the brain, muscle activity, immune function, joint health, and many other body functions. So imagine, it's super important. But maybe we're not aware of this, that while some fatty acids can be produced within our body, by definition, essential fatty acids cannot be produced. So what does that mean? That means we have to rely entirely on the foods we eat to provide us with these very important nutrients. Whenever you see essential before anything like essential amino acids or essential fatty acids or essential whatever, that means your body does not produce it. And if your body does not produce it, that means in order for you to have it, you have to ingest it. So this is a very important concept to keep. So we have to rely on the foods we eat to provide these important nutrients. There's no other way to get them. Now, the two primary essential fatty acids, these are what you probably heard the names, omega-6 and omega-3. Now, for optimal health, you should consume a balanced ratio of these two. That means a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. And you'll see now in a few minutes that many times does not happen, and that is not good for your health. So as I just mentioned, unfortunately, in our diet, this is mostly American diet or Occidental diet or Western diet, includes a lot of omega-6 fatty acids and very little omega-3. This makes that the ratio we have, instead of being the optimal 1-to-1, is up to 15-to-1. And besides this disproportionate consumption of omega-6, there's also a lot of consumption of unhealthy fats like trans or hydrogenated fats, and all these have been linked to health problems. So studies have shown a link between a low intake of omega-3 fatty acids and a higher prevalence of even mental health problems. And this is something that I was amazed. It's not only, most of the time when we speak about omegas, we speak about mostly heart, because we have always focused on heart disease. But guess what? They're more important than only the heart. It's also important for your brain function, and as I just mentioned, muscle, skin, immune system. But this is something I really wasn't that aware of, or I didn't realize it was that important. It's also mental health. And you'll see in some of the research papers. So scientific information supports the health benefits of increasing your intake of omega-3 fatty acids. This has a positive effect on your cardiovascular health. That is probably the one that's mostly promoted all over the place, but also your brain function, your immune response, and even it has a positive impact on joints, mobility, and skin. So you'll be surprised that if you want a beautiful skin, I mean, I don't have a beautiful skin. I have to definitely eat more omega. Omega-3 fatty acids will help you obtain that as well. So as we keep on talking about this introduction, comes the omega-3. The omega-3 DHA is essential for supporting the communication of nerve cells throughout the brain, the eyes, and the entire nervous system. It's a determining factor in the growth and function of the brain. And that's why it's so important in kids. We have to give healthy fats to kids. If not, they will not develop properly their brain or even their eyes and their nervous system. This is super, super important. And many kids, we forget it, and does not happen. Even though it doesn't have maybe that many omega, like the ones we want, but even peanut butter has a lot of fat. Sometimes it's also good for the kid's brain development. So DHA not only helps the development of the brain in kids, but it also promotes a normal memory, helps with concentration, helps with attention, alertness, and even a positive mood. And you see again and again, this pops up, the importance of the omega-3 in mental health. And this for me, honestly, was a bit surprising as myself and Belia researched the papers. So it is well known that DHA is required for optimal function of your retina and the macula. So have you heard maybe of macular degeneration? This is older people, but basically for your eyesight, for your vision. So it also has important functions that are crucial for the development of the brain. So you can see omegas are not only for heart, it's for your brain, for your eyes, for your muscles, for your skin, for your mood, and so many other factors. So this brings us to the question. So it's definitely very important to supplement, particularly omega-3s. Not omega-6, but we already take too many omega-3s, but we have to restore the balance between omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids to maintain the health, not only of children and the brain development of the children, but also of adults. This can be done two ways. You can both decrease the intake of food rich on omega-6 and increasing the intake of foods rich on omega-3. So which are the foods that are rich on omega-3? Basically, fish is an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids in the diet. You have to look for fatty fish, salmon, fish that has a lot of fat inside of it. But you can also find it in some nuts, flaxseed, and also some other nuts. It's also been mentioned you can find some type of oils, even canola oil, but mostly you want to get it from a healthy source such as flaxseed and other natural oils from different types of nuts, grapeseed oil, and these. So now, when you go to fish, you have to be aware of the level of toxins and heavy metals present in many of the world's oceans, and particularly large fish. And that's why you probably see always, mostly with mercury, there's a lot of notes or caution with the use of too much ingestion of tuna, because large fish eat smaller fish. And when they keep on eating smaller fish, they tend to concentrate a lot of the toxins that are out there. So you always want to look small fish, sardines, mackerel, and those are much better than larger fish for your ingestion. So we must ensure that we have a safe and reliable source of omega-3 for our little ones, particularly on omega-3 fatty acid that is free of toxins, heavy metals that can be found in larger fish. So guess what? There is a good solution. And once again, I'm greatly impressed and happy to see that doTERRA many times goes this extra step to find a good source of the oil and to make sure that we get a quality product in our homes. So IQ Omega, this is the liquid form of the omega fatty acid that doTERRA has. It also has a pill form that we will talk in another occasion because it has a different composition. And basically is a supplement that provides 1,000 milligrams of omega fatty acids. Now, the daily portion of omega IQ provides 1,300 milligrams of pure microfiltered marine lipids with 900 milligrams of DHA and 400 milligrams of EPA omega-3 essential acids. Now, the nice thing, I don't know if you realize, I mentioned this word microfiltered, and that's important. It's important because what they do actually, even though the source is from fish that are small, they actually filter it. So as it filters, any presence of toxins and heavy metals is removed. They also try to remove the bad taste of the fish oil. You know, if you had cod oil in the past, with the use of an essential oil that's called wild orange, that also has an additional benefit, that's the limonene. That's a very good natural component of the wild orange essential oil that has many beneficial properties for our body. Because it's liquid, it's easy to swallow. If you have any problems and you're adult, as I mentioned, this can be used both by adults and kids. So it's easy to swallow, as it easier than a pill. It's liquid. It supports, as you could probably figure it out, your brain, cardiovascular, immune, and musculoskeletal function, and is formulated to be used daily, both by children as well as kids. Okay, so it's a great presentation. Now here you can see the supplement facts of the essential oil. Has a little bit of cholesterol. Cholesterol has a bad rap, but it's not that bad for you, especially if it comes from a good fat. But mostly fish oil, and you'll see here cod, saty, haddock, and also smaller fish like mackerel. Has DHA 900 milligrams and EPA 400 milligrams for a total of 1,550 omega-3. So that's a large amount. As a matter of fact, I noticed that this amount is larger than the presentation in pills, even though the pills have other components as well. So what it does for us, it supports cardiovascular function, joint function, is important for the immune system. This is super important because we're attacked by so many different things. So you want a strong immune system. Omega-3 fatty acids protect that or help us. It protects lipid oxidation and supports brain function. So that's probably one of the main things that we saw come again and again in the studies. It promotes skin health, eye, nervous system function. We already mentioned how much it provides, and it has also wild orange in it. A few special notes, and I can't believe this happens to me all the time, but I missed part of the slide, is because I do want you to know several key tips, or these are a little few tips about omega. One, because it has omega fatty acids, these can be oxidized. So it's very important that we recommend that you keep it refrigerated, okay? This coolant slows the oxidation, and it says after you open it, you should keep it in the fridge, and don't use it after 100 days after you put it and after you open it and in the fridge, because the oxygen, and the more you open it or you leave it open, the exposition to oxygen will accelerate oxidation. Cooling slows it down. The nice thing is the fish oils they use come from a renewable source: anchovies, sardines, mackerel. They caught from the Pacific Ocean. These are basically the best fish oil concentrates that you can buy. They're microfiltered, and then they're tested to be with the lowest level of any type of toxins, heavy metals, or contaminants. So one key thing is that also these fish are used not only because of the good source of omega, but also because they're a renewable source. They're smaller fish. So this is best for you. So I spoke about a bit the research, why it's so important for you. So let's briefly check on this. I don't want to bore you, but I do want to make aware of several papers. One here is the long chain omega-3 fatty acids and the brain. This was a review. And it showed basically the independent effects of EPA, DPA, DHA, and basically the importance of omega-3 in children's nutrition. This was the second study here, and it basically did a review. But let's jump in a little more detail. Why is so important? Well, this study from the Journal of Nutrition showed that omega fatty acid intakes are inversely related to elevate depressive symptoms. So that means inversely related, that means the lower the omega-3 fatty acid intake, the higher the depression. The higher the omega-3 fatty acid intake, the lower the depression. So see, this is something that honestly I wasn't that aware of, and it's incredible. I didn't know it was very important for your brain development, but I didn't know it was so related to mood and to behavior and emotions. Here, a study from the UK in kids that had low blood omega-3 had poor cognitive performance and behavior. So it's very important for the brain function. This other study, it showed there was, of course, and this is what probably we know more, and this, the thing that's mostly published or shown out to the public, is important for cardiovascular health. Here is endothelial function. Endothelial, you know, cardiovascular disease most of the time is because of a problem with the endothelial, that's the inner lining of the arteries. So it also has protection at that level. So it's not only good for kids, but for adults, it's very important. And here, what we mentioned at the beginning, the importance of a healthy ratio. So we want to have this good ratio of 1-to-1 between omega-3 and omega-6. And this was an interesting study, but it showed also the modulation of inflammation or the immune system, because it could even help in this case, patient with rheumatoid arthritis. That's a very inflammatory disease. So omega fatty acids are super important for your health. So I really recommend that you keep them up and high in your routine. Here, this is for pregnant women and the prevention of preterm delivery. So even in that, it works. This other study is on the part of your vision and neurodevelopment. That means your brain. And here we have one in which, again, retina, that's a lot about vision, so it protects your retina. In this other study, it spoke about the importance of the fatty acids in developing your brain. And here again, shows the how it contributed to the efficacy of antidepressants. I was a bit surprised about this, and this was from a journal of clinical psychiatry. So you can see this omega fatty acid, particularly omega-3, is the one that you want to bring into your diet. It also helps with memory. For us older guys, I should definitely hit it very hard because I think your memory tends to slip more and more. And even in obesity. So even though people say, oh, you eat fat, you get fat, that's not true. If you eat the right fat in the right proportion, it can even help with obesity, and once again here in depression. So it's incredible the amount of the importance this has in your regular diet. It's key. Regarding safety, is a very safe supplement, as again it's microfiltered to eliminate any type of toxins and heavy metals. You always have to be careful with heavy metals on large fish. It's not recommended that you eat too many large fish, like large groupers or large tuna, because they have more heavy metals, particularly mercury. So you want to be careful with that. Normally the dose is 1 teaspoon a day. That's 5 ml. You want to store it away from direct heat and light because of oxidation. Refrigerate after opening. And of course, if it gets refrigerated like any oils, it might look a bit thicker, but that still looks good. Keep it tightly closed to prevent the entrance of oxygen. So we want to keep this nice and simple because this is just a drop, just so you know a bit more about different ways to bring health and a healthy lifestyle into your daily routine. And as always, we like to bring you a little health and wellness, one drop at a time, and promote an aroma with a purpose. So thank you very much. Keep this in mind whenever you want to improve your general health. As you can see, it works around your brain, your immune system, your skin, your joints, and so many other parts. So I'll close the recording and we'll be open for some additional questions. And thank you again for sharing with us this little drop of IQ Mega. Have a very good night.